So I kind of did something messed up recently. I started paying attention to every broke person I know. Again, not in a judgmental way, but in a pattern recognition way. Because I spent years studying what makes people successful, but I finally realized I've never really studied the other side. So, what do the people who stay stuck actually have in common? And once I started looking, I couldn't unsee it because it wasn't what I expected. It wasn't laziness, it wasn't stupidity, it wasn't even bad luck. It was one phrase, one sentence that came out almost every single person's mouth when I did interview them. And once you hear it, maybe you've realized that you've said it too. And the phrase is, I'm just waiting for the right time. And that's it. They all said the same thing or the same version of it. I'm waiting until I have more saved up. I'm waiting until the kids are older. I'm waiting until I know more. I'm waiting until the economy gets better. Waiting, always waiting for a moment that never arrives. And here's what wild, they don't even realize they're saying it. It doesn't sound like an excuse to them. It sounds responsible. It sounds mature. It sounds smart. But it's the most expensive sentence in the English language because every month you spend waiting for the right time is a month of your life that doesn't come back. Now, let me be clear. I'm not talking about people going through genuine hardship. I'm not talking about someone who just lost their job or dealing with a health crisis. That's real. That's different. I'm talking about the person with a stable income, a decent situation, and a dream they've been sitting on for 2, 3, 5 years. The person who has enough to start but keeps telling themselves they need more before they can even move. That person is not careful. They're being comfortable, and they've confused the two. Now, here's what I've noticed about the people on the other side, the ones who actually built something. Not a single one of them waited for the right time. Not one. They started when it was inconvenient. They started when they didn't have enough. They started when people around them thought it was a bad idea. The timing was never right. They just decided the timing didn't matter. And that single difference, that one mental shift, separated them from everyone who is still waiting. Now, I'll tell you my own experience with this. When I started lead generation, the timing was terrible. I didn't have the infrastructure. I didn't have pricing figured out. I didn't have a sales team. I didn't even have a clear picture of what the business model would actually look like at scale. If I'd waited for the right time, I'd still be waiting because the right time was never coming. The pricing model, I figured that out by just getting it wrong first. The sales process, I built it by just having terrible calls and learning from them. The infrastructure, it got built because it had to, not because I planned it perfectly in advance. That business now has tracked over $80 million in revenue tracked for our contractor partners, over 350 contractors nationwide and in North America. None of that existed when the time was right. It existed because I moved when the time was wrong. Now, let me tell you the second thing I noticed about broke people, and this one is more subtle. They all have very strong opinions about things they've never tried. That won't work in my market. Have you tried it? No. People don't buy things that way anymore. Have you tested it? Usually no. That business model is saturated. Have you actually built one? Answer's probably no. They've done the research, they've watched the YouTube videos, they've done the Reddit threads, and they've built an entire worldview based on other people's experiences instead of their own. Meanwhile, the person who actually tried it, even badly, learned more in 2 weeks than the researcher learned in 2 years. Information without action isn't knowledge, it's just entertainment. And a lot of people have turned their ambition into a Netflix show that they watch every night but never star in it. And the third pattern is actually the most heartbreaking one. And it's this. Broke people almost always have someone in their life who benefits them staying where they are at that level. Not financially, but emotionally. A friend gets uncomfortable when you talk about your goals. A partner who calls your ambition maybe obsessive. A family member who says, why can't you just be happy with what you have? And instead of recognizing that as resistance, they internalize it as wisdom. And they think maybe they're right. Maybe I should be grateful, and maybe wanting more makes me greedy. Well, it doesn't. Wanting more is human. Settling for less because someone else is uncomfortable with your growth, now that's the real greed. That's stealing your own future to keep someone else's present comfortable. By the way, if you're getting something from this, take a second, please subscribe. I make videos like this every week. The stuff that's hard to hear but harder to ignore, that's all I ask. Please subscribe. Now let's keep going. So what do you actually do with this information? First, audit your language. For the next week, pay attention to every time you say, I am waiting for ... or once I have ... or once I have, or when the time is right. Write it down. You'll be shocked how often you say it. Second, pick one thing that you've been waiting to do and do one irreversible action towards that thing this week. Not research, not planning, an action. Send the email, make the call, publish the thing, buy the domain, whatever it is, let's make it real. Third, look at who you're taking advice from. If the people counseling patients are the same people who haven't built anything themselves, that's not wisdom. That's projection. They're not protecting you, they're protecting themselves from what your success would mean about their choices. And here's the thing nobody tells you about the right time. It feels exactly like right now, messy, uncertain, scary, and imperfect. Every person who's built something meaningful started in a moment that felt just like this one. They didn't have some sign from the universe. They didn't have a guarantee. They just decided just waiting was more dangerous than starting. And they were right. So stop waiting. The time was probably 6 months ago. The second best time is today, right now. If this hits you, subscribe, drop a comment, and tell me what you've been waiting for. I read every single one. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much.